Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, friends. Welcome. Welcome back to the game of the day. Today, we are going to look at one of Nihal's games against Grandmaster Anton Smirnov from Australia. This was played in the Chess Kids Junior Speed Chess Championship. Grandmaster Anton Smirnov had already defeated Indian Grandmaster Ronak Sadhwani in the pre quarterfinal, and this game was played in the quarterfinal where Anton was leading by a point after the end of the 3 plus 1 portion. This game was the first game in the bullet portion, and Nihal started out with d4, d5, knight f3, knight f6, c4. Here we have the starting point of the queen's gambit. If black takes the c4 pawn, then it is queen's gambit accepted. If black doesn't take the pawn, then it is queen's gambit declined. Anton declines the queen's gambit. Here, the majority of the games in the match went knight c3. After which Anton responded with c6, which is the starting of the Semislav structure. Instead, Nihal went for this tricky move of e3, after which Anton replied with c5, which is one of the common ways to respond to this, the another one being b6. Knight c3, knight c6. Essentially, we have a structure that's quite different from what Anton was used to during the match. I believe this could have been a deliberate strategy from Nihal just to change the track and make things uncomfortable for his opponent. Nihal played e3. The idea being after dc, bishop c5, he wants to play b4 and develop this bishop to b2. Now, when he committed e3, already it was clear that this bishop had to develop to b2. This is usually done with b3 first, or in some cases the pawn goes to b4 with a3 supporting it, as happened in the game. So a3, and here Anton responded with knight e4, which I felt was slightly unusual, developing the piece second time and exchanging it to a piece which has been developed only once. So after bishop d3, knight c3, bc3, dc4, bishop c4, I think white has got a good pawn structure, which in general in d4 openings something he's generally happy with. Bishop e7, castle, and here Nihal played e4, which I felt was a bit too early and committal. I would have preferred some move like queen c2, which would have kept the options open. White can follow this up with e4 later after rook d1, or he can play some plan like b6, rook d1, bishop b7, d5, or in this position of course dc5 is possible. So yeah, something like queen c7, and here white has a lot of possibilities, d5 being one of them, and also e4 is possible, or just some bishop b2, keeping things open. e4 commits things a bit and changes the game into a semi-Tarrasch pawn structure. Normal development continues, and in general in semi-Tarrasch, black usually has an extra pawn on the queen side, as is the case in this game, while white has an extra pawn in the center. Now these center pawns can be a weakness or an asset depending on how the game continues. Now in this particular position, black had the chance to play rook c3, which would have been very unpleasant for white. Rook c3 attacks the pawn on a3, and if white defends this pawn by something like a4, then black can go knight b3, attacking the a1 rook as well as the d4 pawn. So this would have put white in a slightly unpleasant situation, although white still has a lot of attacking potential, and Nihal would have probably just sacrificed the a3 pawn and gone ahead with his kingside initiative. However, Anton played knight c4, threatening knight b2, and this is easily parried by queen e2, defending b2 and attacking c4. Now again normal development takes place, b5, defending the knight, a4, a6, ab5, ab5. This creates a passer, an outside passer for black. However, this pawn can be also a weakness. After rook b1, knight a3, rook b3, b4. Here I think already white can just collect this pawn with bishop d2. If black defends with knight c2, then white can just take this piece, and after rook c2 attack both the rook and this pawn, and this pawn falls off. However, being a bullet game, Nihal decided to seize the initiative and target all his guns towards the king side. So this is where the game really starts to warm up, and Nihal played this typical pawn operation on the center, which is typical in the semi-Tarrasch, with d5, e d5, and now he doesn't take back the d5 pawn, but instead goes e5. The point of this pawn sacrifice is that one thing is it opens this bishop's diagonal, but the other thing is it closes this b7 bishop's diagonal, and it cuts all the black's pieces to the queen side, while it gives access to all the white pieces on the king side. This was a turning point in this game. If black had played d4, then he would have still retained very promising defensive chances and made things really difficult for white to attack, because his queen is not coming to e4, this bishop is guarding it, and it's really difficult to put this queen on this king side battery, because this knight is always taking this bishop, whether it goes to b1 or c2. Anton missed this chance and reacted by reflex. He played g6, playing against this bishop, and he also felt that he could have prevented the knight from coming to f5. However, after knight d4 bishop c5, white can play knight f5 anyway. This knight cannot be taken, because after gf5 bishop f5, this rook is attacked, but that's not the main point. The main point is white trains his guns on h7, and with queen h5 and rook g3 following up, black has absolutely no defense. If black tries to play rook c6 with the idea of rook g6, preventing white's attack on h7, then white can just play e6, cutting this rook on c6 and threatening queen h5, rook g3, and bishop e5 mate is also in the mix. So gf5 would have left him with absolutely no defense. Anton really tries to bring his pieces into the game to mobilize it, and he starts with d4, which would have been a fantastic move 2 moves ago, but it's already a bit too late now. And after queen g4, bishop d5, bishop g5, it looks like white is attacking this queen, but he's actually not only attacking the queen but also threatening a mate in 2 with knight h6 and bishop f6. So if black just moves this queen away, then after knight h6, king g7, bishop f6 check, black can't even take this knight because queen h4 is mate. Therefore he has to take queen into f6, and after ef6, white is just a queen up, and again black can't even capture this knight because of queen h4 mate again. So he tried to defend, he tried to resist. This has been one of Anton's USP throughout this match. He's fantastic in resilience. He has been able to defend all kinds of worse positions against both Raunak as well as Nihal. When he got a worse position, he just tried to make things difficult for his opponent by just prolonging the struggle. And quite often, under pressure, his opponents, both Raunak and Nihal, didn't manage to win some of the games in which they were better. However, this was not one of those games. So after bishop b3, knight h6 check, king h8, bishop d8, rook d8. White is a queen up. However, he's not just a queen up, but he also has a promising attack going. Queen h4, threatening mate on f6. Black has to defend with f6 or f5. In both the cases, white just takes this pawn, rook d6, and now he just defends this. Now we can see the effect of this d5, e5, e5 in full effect. All the white's pieces are aiming their guns on black's king, whereas all the black's queenside pieces are relatively out of the game. Now there are two weak points, h7 and g6. In the moves ensuing, black tries to defend h7 with all his might, starting with rook d7, bishop g6, bishop g8. He's rushing his army to defend h7. and white also keeps this pressure up with rook e7. This rook cannot be taken because white just takes it back, and if black plays something like rook e8, then queen f6 is mate. And if black tries to play something like rook f5, then white can just make another queen with mate soon to follow. So black brings one more piece to defend h7. However, all this focus on h7 leaves g6 unguarded. So Nihal just took c7, and after knight e5, knight g6 threatens mate. Anton tries to do one small last trick with bishop d6. Now, if white just moves the knight out of reflex to somewhere like f3, then it's already a back rank mate. h2 is covered by this bishop. It can also create a psychological doubt in white's mind uh, with bishop d6 covering h2 on whether to move the knight or not. But of course, these things don't work against Nihal, and he just promptly mated with knight g6. This was a fantastic game by Nihal, which equalized the score, changed the momentum of the match, and helped Nihal take the match with a 2-point margin. So that's all we have for the game of the day today. Thanks a lot for joining in, and uh, see you at Nihal's semi-final on October 4, 9:30 p.m. against Haik Martirosyan from Armenia. Thank you.